This is BBC One.
Good evening. Tonight, in his first ever British television interview, film star Kris Kristofferson tells us how he almost killed himself drinking nearly 2 bottles of scotch a day. Tonight, in the Nationwide studio, one of the most popular singers and film actors in the world. He's here from America for a concert tour, which he'll be making with his wife, Rita Coolidge, who is also, of course, a major recording star herself. They'll finish the tour here in London, at the Royal Albert Hall, on April the 18th and April the 19th. Kris Kristofferson, the world's most watchable man. That's the verdict of 5,000 women questioned in a poll after his poignant portrayal of a fading rock music star, outshone by his protege, played by Barbra Streisand, in A Star Is Born. It was an overnight success story for Kristofferson, although, of course, he'd already starred in 7 major films, including Cisco Pike, for which he wrote and recorded the music, Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, and the award-winning Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. But of course, the most popular of his films was A Star Is Born, the film in which he played the fading rock star who adopted and fell in love with his protege, Barbra Streisand. So in that film, you played a rock star, as I said, but also someone with a severe drink problem. I wonder to what extent it was a parallel of your own lifestyle at the time.
Well, John, I think if I hadn't made the film, it might be a direct parallel today, or my lifestyle would be a parallel of the Star Is Born film, because as you know, Rita's had considerable success in the last year. She's had 3 single hits in a row, and I might be standing off in the wings getting drunk in the same way. As it happened, sort of a bonus benefit of making the film was enabling me to see the course of my life and the path of destruction I was following. I'm not the only self-destructive person who's ever gotten up on a stage, but I was representing a lot of them at the time.
Precisely what were you doing? I mean, what did this film show you about yourself? How bad was the drink problem?
Well, my particular problem was a lot worse than I realized it was at the time, because I had been drinking heavily for 20 years, and by heavily, I mean up to a bottle and a half of whiskey, 2 bottles of whiskey a day, and a case of beer a day. And problems that I thought came with my personality, such as outbursts of temper and paranoia, depression, especially depression, that I thought were just parts of me as a human being, turned out to be part of the chemical reaction of whiskey on your brain, because I haven't experienced them nearly to the degree since I quit. It's been like I have to resist the temptation to be a crusader.
Looking back on that period in your life, is it at all possible for you to define just how and when it began? I mean, what made you start drinking so heavily?
I'm sure it was insecurity of some sort.
You're a superstar. I mean, what have you got to worry about?
Well, I would argue with the definition right now, or the label of superstar, but I'm sure you would have no argument about calling me a superstar 10 years ago or 20 years ago. And the pressures of taking a basically introverted person and putting him in a spotlight, regardless of whether he wanted to be there in the first place, are such that I needed some sort of a crutch just to get up on a stage where people didn't necessarily want me to be in the first place.
And that crutch was a bottle of whiskey.
It was. And thank God I don't need it anymore, because I have found that my communication with my band, which is terrific, and with the audience is so much better now.
How does someone possibly set about overcoming a problem like that? Who do you look for to help? Where do you go? What do you do?
It's got to be a personal decision. It's got to be between you and God, I guess. I wasn't aware of a problem before I made the decision. When I made it, it was almost like a revelation. I knew immediately that it was right, and it was what happened was at the age of 40, it was like I took a handicap off of me. If I were a racehorse, I suddenly unloaded a lot of weight and was able to run without it now. I'm in better shape than I was when I was fighting over here.
Well, I'm sure you are, and I'm sure a lot of your fans are very glad to hear it. You are, of course, here to sing, and you're here to sing with your wife, Rita. Does this tour mean that, because of reported disenchantment anyway with the film industry, that perhaps films are being pushed into the background a little bit, and it's singing you're going to concentrate on now?
Well, right now, I am more interested in the music because I just finished a new album of material that's out, and I'm having more fun with the band. I'm having more fun doing shows because they, as opposed to the films, it's all my writing. Everything that I do is, and it's like it's more of a personal statement, so there's more personal satisfaction. Barbara probably got more satisfaction out of The Star Is Born than I, because it was her vision that she pursued all the way to the final product, and I think she did a good job on it. Had I written it, directed it, and edited it as she did, I did a lot of writing on it, but she was really it was her album. I would probably be as interested in it as I am in my music now. I hope eventually to get to a point in films where I'm doing the writing and the directing.
Well, let's hope you do, and wish you and your wife, Rita, all the best with this tour. I'm sure a lot of fans will be very anxious to see you both. Kris Kristofferson, thank you.
What a fascinating interview.